Okay, welcome back. So here's a dramatic statement why self-esteem is a waste of time. And typically when I do workshops, just for fun, I'll ask, hey, is self-esteem important? Almost everybody will raise their hands. Occasionally someone will be like, this is a trick question, and so they won't raise their hands. But this is where, again, I want to really give you some insight and shake you out of level one to start then taking off to levels two, three, four, five, and six. And we're going to really also connect some dots from what we've talked about already. So the idea is that self-esteem is actually the cause of most suffering, and it's a big cause of lost opportunity. And in fact, you do not need to feel good about yourself to be truly happy. The opposite is true. And this is going to, again, we're going to connect it to that dopamine system and explain self-esteem from the dopamine perspective, why it's there, why it causes problems, how we can move it out of the way in order to get to the promised land, as we've talked about. And so the action step that you're going to take from understanding this is that you want to increase your tolerance for embarrassment, failure, rejection, loss, difficult conversations, vulnerability, dependence on others, giving credit to other people when they help you out, asking for assistance. And all these things will build a higher muscle that will allow us to tolerate dopamine drops connected to loss of self-esteem. Self-esteem ultimately is and if we go back to the dopamine graph here, let's see if I can do the annotation here. So the reality again is that from an evolutionary perspective, this system came about over the last 4 million years in order to give us a high when we had a boost in status or tribal acceptance, as well as resources and opportunity. Uh, and all of these contribute to our ability to be higher up in rank, which leads to mating success, which then leads to the genes surviving. That's how we're designed to be addicted to self-esteem, addicted to how we feel about ourselves, especially relative to others. And the true test of this system is how much you can tolerate the list of things I just rattled off: embarrassment, rejection, failure, loss, dependence on others, asking for help, giving people credit. All these things cause a dopamine drop because the lower brain hates loss of status. And this is why it's so painful for us to have these kinds of anything that is a threat to the lower brain is a problem. And so the lower brain will say, no, 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 we hate that. We don't like that. We're going to drop your dopamine levels. We're going to make you feel pain so that you don't lose status for us, so we don't lose our opportunity to get to the next generation. And this is exacerbated by internet, social media, streaming, et cetera, because we see everybody posting their best lives online, which is not why I'm not a fan of posting good things about our lives, vacations, restaurants, et cetera, because to me, it in effect is creating a dopamine drop for other people. You're creating a dopamine pop for yourself, feeling good about your life, but then you're causing suffering for others. That's something we could talk about another time. But here's the really big deal, is that as we mentioned, you have to tolerate feedback to get to the promised land. The promised land of levels two, three, four, five, and six require you to tolerate the diminishment of yourself in order to get the feedback, in order to make improvements in your neural networks that lead to greater ability to be self-aware and grow, better learning and innovation, better connections, difficult conversations, leadership, trust building, better risk tolerance when it comes to happiness and even spiritual advancement. All these require a sacrifice of time and a sacrifice of status. And so the lower brain fights us. And that's why it's critical to let go of the need to feel good about yourself. It's a waste of time. If you have success, say, interesting, we're very fortunate, and that lets us play more. That's the point, is that we get to do lots of creative risk taking in terms of personal growth, connection, creativity, and bringing in more beauty into the world. That's maximum happiness. So let go of self-esteem. Who cares? As they say, throw the fish back in the water. If you get lucky and you have a good outcome, don't make a big deal about it. Realize how lucky we are, and get back to a sense of play, and discovery and creative risk taking to continue to make connections, do experiments, make things more beautiful, more functional. That's endlessly available to everybody. Okay. So that's what we want to do, is to kind of continue to recognize when we have that yucky feeling in our stomach or our heart or our head, when we have a bad outcome, or we were rejected by somebody, we're going to say, you know what? Okay, interesting. That's a trick of my lower brain because it doesn't want loss of status. We don't care about loss of status. We just care about getting better and better in all areas of our life. And so by reframing it, we actually step outside of it and reduce the pain of self-esteem and become less and less inhibited to taking risk. So we build a higher brain muscle of both separating from the self-esteem dopamine drop, as well as increasing our tolerance for creative risk taking, becoming more and more fearless in this life, more and more engaged, having a richer life. And that's available to everybody, regardless of talent and looks and intelligence and money. It does not matter. We can all get better and better from where we are. And that's the joy of life, is to just get better. Okay. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next one. All right. Take care.